So for this one, we are going to, like I said earlier, we are going to be exploring communicating with a REST API using the code ID by writing code. In more practical sense, for your day-to-day operations, you'll be using Postman or some variant of the tools. But it's important you understand how it works behind the scene, right? What Postman actually translates in terms of code. Just on the surface, not so deep into it. So as you can see my screen here, which I'm sharing, I'm using this site, jsfiddle.typecode.com, which provides us free APIs. You can query, post request, and get requests. Now you can see, so we're going to be querying this domain. Do you remember what we spoke about in the internet module where I talked about how the front end communicates with backend and the domain you call and the request is made, blah, 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 blah. So we are going to be, if you've forgotten, just go and watch it again. So we are going to be making a request to this JSfiddle.typecode. We'll be querying it and we'll get a response that they provided us with. This is the response we're actually expecting as they've shown us in their site already. So we run this code using a code ID and we get this. So first of all, let me search for an online code ID that we can use. So I think I know online JS. So I can just come to JSfiddle code playground easily. We have a code ID we can work with. I care about JavaScript for this. We are not really writing HTML for this. We want to look at the results. So just drag this up. This is the console. Our output is going to show here. I wish I could minimize this. I wish I could minimize this. Unfortunately, I can't. But yeah, whatever we run here. So in JavaScript, console.log is a way to output something. Don't stress it too much. It's not that deep. But just the console.log is a way to output something to the console. So if I write console.log, I am a really cool dude, and I click on run. So you can see I'm a really cool dude, right? So you can console anything. Let me console one more thing. So you are sure that I'm not scamming you. Hope you are loving the course. And you run it. And you can see it here. So now when we run this command, we'll make a request to this API and we're expected to see this response. So let's do that. Let me remove this and run this. And let me clear the console. And I've copied and pasted this, which I copied from there. And I click run. And we can see this was the response we got. So in reality, your frontend might be making a request to your backend that, oh, give me this user information. And your backend will respond to your frontend in this format. It's called the JSON format, where you have key and values. So it could be the name, the email address, the age, whatever my age is, I won't tell you. The gender, as I check, I'm still male. The occupation, jobless. So you get the point, right? It's just, I like everything for you. The front end makes a request to the backend responds to the user information, and the front end lists it or presents it however way it likes. So that's the way it works. So I made a request to jsfiddle.typecode.com/todo/1. I got the response. Let me use let me use posts instead of to-dos. No, I want you to give me a post. Okay, get request. So let me make a request to this for the purpose of this demonstration. And here you can see it returns an array of items. The first one was just a simple object. This one returns an array of items. Yeah. I wish I would try to zoom in here. Can I zoom in? I wish I could zoom in. No, I can't. But you get the point. Good. So what if I put in a URL, some random URL that don't exist? So let me just change this to random URL that doesn't exist anywhere .com. Yeah, so make sure it doesn't exist. Let's see what we get. Oh, I think this code ID is broken. We're not supposed to get any response. It's supposed to fail. So I think something is broken here. Let me run it again. So nothing gets outputted because of there's no response. It's just a random URL that doesn't exist that I'm showing you. So that's that with the code. So if you have to look at the code, when we are using the fetch API, I would explain this in the API section. But when we're using fetch, it takes in the URL, the domain name. It could be our backend domain name, like your api.yourcompany.name.com or yourcompany.name.com/API. It could be your company's backend or the third party tool. they get added to this here. Let's take a look at the fetch documentation. So the fetch documentation using the fetch API. So it takes in the API here, the response, passes it to JSON, and then we can now console.log the response here. Similar to what we did here, passing the response, console.log the response here. So I'll be giving you an API. I want you to query it and put your response in the assessments below. Just there's a code ID embedded that you can use. Write a little bit of code. Get your hands dirty. It's not that serious. And let's see what you get by querying it in the console, in the output. I just leave it in the assessment. Yeah. Bye.